Let's talk about a true legend. It's the story of a boy who was born in a tiny log cabin, who learned to read by the soft glow of a fireplace, and who grew up to completely change the world. This, of course, is the story of Abraham Lincoln.
I mean, that sounds like a question from a fairy tale, right? But believe it or not, this story is absolutely real. So let's figure out how a kid with pretty much nothing, except a deep love for books, became one of the greatest leaders in all of history.
So, our story starts where so many great ones do, in a really humble place. Just try to picture it, a tiny log cabin deep in the woods where you can hear the wind whistling right through the cracks. This is where we first meet our hero.
And inside that little cabin, there's a young boy named Abe, and he's just completely lost in another world. While the rest of his family is asleep, he's soaking up every single word he can, with only the flickering fire for light. He didn't have a fancy school, no private tutors, just a couple of old books and this incredible, burning desire to learn. That's what he would whisper, when his mother would tell him it was time to go to sleep. For him, it wasn't just reading. It was this hunger for knowledge that would really shape his entire life. And let me tell you, his life was anything but easy. The American frontier was a tough, tough place. His family had to move. He lost his own mother when he was just 9 years old. And real school, that was a luxury he barely got to experience. His days were filled with hard physical work. But here's the thing. Through all of that hardship, his true character just shone through. He was famous for his integrity, so much so that people actually started calling him Honest Abe. And in that rough world, where your word was everything, his honesty really made him stand out. He also had this incredible deep voice and a real love for telling stories that just made everyone want to listen.
Every great hero's story has that one moment, right? That one turning point that gives them their real purpose. Well, for Lincoln, that moment was both powerful and absolutely heartbreaking.
As a young man, he saw the unbelievable cruelty of slavery with his own eyes. He watched a family get ripped apart, a little boy sold away from his mother. And what he saw that day, it lit a fire inside of him. He made a promise to himself. And this wasn't just some passing thought. It became the moral compass for the rest of his life. He finally had his mission.
But look, having a mission and actually achieving it, well, those are two very different things. The road ahead for him was going to be long, and it was filled with failure and all kinds of setbacks. His determination was just incredible. He had no money for law school, so what did he do? He taught himself, studying by candlelight just like he did as a boy. He became a lawyer who seemed to care more about doing the right thing than getting rich. And when he decided to go into politics, he lost a lot. But the amazing part is, he never ever gave up. Oh, and physically, the guy was unforgettable. At 6'4", he was the tallest US president we've ever had. I mean, can you imagine? He would have absolutely towered over most people, a true giant of his time. And he was pretty practical too. That famous tall hat of his, it wasn't just a fashion statement, it was his filing cabinet. Seriously, he'd stuff important letters and notes right inside it. It's these little details that make his story so wonderfully human.
So after all those years of struggle, he finally makes it. He reaches the highest office in the land, only to face the country's greatest crisis ever. This was the real climax of his story.
The very moment he becomes president, the nation starts to just tear itself apart. The fight over slavery had finally reached a breaking point, and the Civil War began. Now, he had to lead a country that was literally at war with itself. But through all the chaos, Lincoln held on tight to one core belief, a fundamental truth that guided him through it all. He believed, deep in his soul, in the promise that all men are created equal. And that belief, it led to his most powerful, most history-changing act. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, this wasn't just a speech. It was a powerful declaration that started the process of freeing millions of enslaved people, and it completely redefined the purpose of the war.
And as the war finally came to a close, Lincoln's story reached its own tragic and heroic end, cementing his place in history forever.
The war was won. The nation, even though it was badly scarred, was saved. And that promise he made to himself all those years ago, to end the evil of slavery, well, it had been fulfilled. But so tragically, he wouldn't live to see the nation fully heal.
But what he left behind is his true legacy. I mean, he held the United States together, he helped abolish slavery forever, and he became this timeless symbol of honesty and courage. We see his face every day on our money, and we honor his memory at the incredible Lincoln Memorial. And it all started with a boy reading by the fire.
And that kind of brings everything full circle, doesn't it? Lincoln's entire story started with a simple desire to learn and this deep feeling that something in the world was just plain wrong. It really makes you wonder, if you could change just one thing to make the world a better place, what would it be?